the fact that fame can fly away, the fact that fame can end at any point, it haunted him every minute of every day. There are fascinating diary entries that he would write, because right around 1909, he'd been famous for a decade, and much like what we talked about with Evel Knievel, there was a moment where it's sort of, okay, well, I've seen you escape from every possible thing you can escape from. It's, okay, I'm bored. I'm moving on. And there's an extraordinary diary entry he wrote in St. Louis where he just wrote, essentially, they didn't come. They didn't come to see me. Is this the end of Houdini? Is this the end of Houdini? And he meant it. I mean, they scared. He was famous for telling people, that this could ruin me. This will be the end of me, and it haunted him all of his life. And so he always did try to find the next thing. Okay, now I got to add danger. Now I got to add, I've got to add a whole other flourish. I've got to do the straitjacket escape upside down in the middle of town for free. I mean, that's the other thing. He came here to Washington and did the upside down straitjacket escape right by the Ebbett Grill, and what at the time was a theater by Keith's Theater, and 15,000 people came to watch him, and flooded Washington, and it was all just as a promotion for the show. It was all just, okay, you got to see Houdini come out to the show tonight, but it was much more for him. It was getting that crowd and having everyone see him, and he was desperate to always find that next stage, all the way to the end of his life, where his final stage really was this unmasking of spiritualists and mediums, and it was certainly a devoted cause for him, but it also put him back in the news and gave him headlines again, and it was corrosive. There's no question, and it's why there are people in this book who absolutely cannot stand Houdini. I mean, their voices are here too, and it's because they felt. One of the great magic historians of today is a guy named Mike Caveney, who was a great magician as well, and a wonderful person, and he does not like Houdini. And I said to him, why is it you don't like Houdini? And he said, because Houdini, it was not enough to win. Everybody else had to lose. And I think that's the corrosive part of needing to be more famous and more famous and more famous.
Well, just to play armchair psychologist, he was short.
Sure.
He was an immigrant.
That's right.
Who was probably ashamed of not being born here, because we know he lied about it.
Sure.
Ashamed of his poverty. Sure. Ashamed of his father's failure. Reminds me a little bit, talk about a weird parallel, reminds me a little bit of LBJ, who had a father he felt didn't match up, didn't meet his expectations. Absolutely. And said, I'm not going to be that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was Jewish. I mean, and that was a big part of his. In
those years when Jews were looked down on often and struggled to get acceptance, were discriminated against literally in university admissions and elsewhere. He had a chip on his shoulder his whole life. That's another way to say it.
Yes, yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think
what a curse.
it was a curse that he turned into something else. He definitely. Like, there is a part of, I guess maybe I don't think this is unique to Houdini, but there's a part, I'm not going back. I'm not going to be that guy again. I'm not going to be poor again. I'm not going to be looked down on. Everyone will look at me and they will respect me and they will admire me and they will know my name. And I think it's amazing looking from the outside, looking in, where you go, but at some point, you're one of the most famous people in the world, right? Enjoy a little bit. You can't. And I think that's precisely the corrosive nature